edition of the final edition of the Roundtable. This is it.
What?
Well, for 2023 at least.
Okay.
Because January 4th will be back on the air, coming from Gilbert Elementary School in North Las Vegas. That's right. We're going to do a remote show. That's January 4th, John. Make sure it's on your calendar, which I know it is. Anyway, so this is our finale for the year. We're going to take next week off. But Kiwanis Connects will be on tomorrow, and the following week we'll have I'm doing no shows on Saturday. If you could follow all of that, God bless you, because I have no idea what I'm doing. Anyway, I'm Aaron Phillips, and in my right is the man who's caught more passes from John Elway than John Elway's wife, Mr. Rick Upchurch.
Wow.
Well, hello.
Where'd you
Well,
get that from?
more passes. Oh, well, I'm gonna stay out of that.
That's what I kind of laid out.
Keep my
All the way down to the right, he is our resident security guard extraordinaire that you'll only find him doing that role in a TV show or movie, Mr. George the Mouth Miklos.
How do everybody?
Georgie pudding pie.
I have a version that we
You
can.
go big. And
We
I'm
could do it on the internet,
I'm
but
gonna
not
leave it
today.
alone.
Yes,
I
not in
could
the
do that.
presence of our guest.
I could do that, but
We're not even in 2 minutes and you've lost control.
Listen, you
Right.
can't lose what you've never had in the first place.
That's right.
Bingo.
Now, what's interesting about George's seat is because as a security guard, one of our guests is a former Las Vegas, or is it North Las Vegas, or what was your title?
City of Las Vegas.
City of Las Vegas police chief. She was a muckety muck, all in blue, and I have a picture to prove it, although I didn't post it. I have it. Miss Michelle Freeman, how are you?
I'm wonderful. Thank you so much for having us here
Our
today.
absolute pleasure. And sitting in the middle, because no one else wanted to sit in the middle, she drew the short straw. Also from the same organization, which I'll announce in a minute, Miss Mai Tran. How are you?
Lovely. Thank you so much.
Lovely. She's so lovely. Anyway, all right.
Do you have handcuffs on you, by the way?
We can't talk about that on air. Mm-mm.
You want
Stay
the
out
one
of
with the
that.
little pinky stuff on it, not
That's
the ones
right.
that she used to carry.
Right. Well, she can still, arrest me.
No, you're asking for it.
Yes.
See, this is why you put me here.
I
I get
told
it on that.
you understand why you got that seat over there, right?
Well, ask her if she has zip ties. I mean, that was.
Yeah, is that how they do it
Those
now?
will work.
Is that how they, don't they use zip ties now, right?
They can be used.
They're cheaper.
I see them all on what is it? On Patrol Live.
Yeah,
That's
we
all
have
they
them.
seem to use.
Yeah. Don't believe everything you say.
Hey, you know what?
You
When
mean
I walk,
TV's not real?
yeah.
In some cases, it's not.
It's like wrestling.
You know what? When I walked in,
Yes.
and you said that the police chief was here, I thought it was
You were ready to
Charlie's
run.
Angels. No,
Charlie's
I said, man, Charlie's Angels. That's why I heard them and got here.
Well,
I was
you
like,
wanted to be Bosley?
Yeah.
No such luck.
Ah.
Anyway,
If
so
only.
yeah.
right, if only, right? All right, so our guest today, we always have fun on the show. We love what we do here. Every once in a while, we do tackle a topic that it's a serious nature, especially at this time of year. We've actually kind of touched on some of these things at this time of year. But the ladies represent an organization, and don't be fooled by the name of the organization, but they're part of the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. Why do I say don't get fooled? That American word in front of it makes it sound like that they're a national organization. Well, they are, but they're not. Every organization in town or around the country is under their own auspice, correct?
Yep, we all have separate chapters. There's actually 74 chapters across the country.
And you guys obviously
And we are one of them. We were chartered as a chapter in 2015.
right on. So that you've done some good work in 8 years.
Yeah.
Now we're going to get to their story. Of course, everybody does things in their life, and they start doing things because they've had an aha moment, things like that. And the ladies have been kind enough to allow us to delve into why and the how and all that stuff that they got involved in this organization. So I will share with you folks, if you don't have a box of Kleenex or a really long bed sheet next to you, you might want to have one handy just in case. But we still will have fun with the ladies. You have great information. Also share the feed, of course. If you're watching us on Facebook, we thank you very much. 2 pages there, the Roundtable, and of course, WWDBTV. Hey, guess what? YouTube. We got the same 2 channels there you can watch if you'd rather watch on YouTube. Then the best part is if you want to listen on the go, download WWDBTV to your Android, WWDBTV LV to your iPhone. And if you are a Roku subscriber, and if you're not, you should be, for no other reason, just to watch the Roundtable, download the WWDBTV. If anybody signs up, Roku, I want a commission check. Anyway, WWDBTV channel on Roku. Not only will you see the Roundtable, but you'll see, I need a word for a lot.
A plethora.
Ginormous.
Ginormous. We
Thank
use
you.
plethora.
That was a good one.
You
Plethora.
reached way down in there, girlfriend.
A ginormous amount, multiple shows that you can see there on the network. You'll enjoy them.
What does
And
plethora
about,
mean?
Means a lot.
Okay.
But I burn plethora out, though. That's
Use
the
that
problem.
word. We always use
I
that
always
word.
use that one. I
Plethora.
even have it on my post
Yeah.
now.
Hey, man, stay with what you know, big fella. That's all.
true. If I stay with what I know, I wouldn't be behind a microphone. I've been faking it for 18 years. Just leave that alone.
That I
Don't
believe.
follow up with anything on that one, please.
I believe that.
Just leave it alone. All right, so the ladies are only going to be with us till about quarter of. They have another function that they have to get to. So we're kind of reversing the roles. We're going to get to our stupidity later on in the show after they leave, because we would not want to subject them to that kind of stuff. And America Speaks, we'll wrap up the show later on. But first, before we get started, Mr. John, do you have that picture I asked you to prepare for us, please? I want you to pay attention to the following picture. You
You
can,
mean this one?
I hope so.
Oh, geez.
So I'm watching Obliterated, which is an 8-episode show on Netflix, because my
Right.
wife and I are now into these miniseries, so that's all we watch. This popped up last night in the 8th episode, halfway through in the final episode to get the bad guys. And I looked up and I almost gave myself whiplash because I had to look back.
Yeah.
And that's with the TV in front of me. Because I then turned to my wife and I said, "Did you see what I just saw?" She goes, "What?" So I had to go back and I played it again. And she goes, "Was that George?" I said, "Yeah."
In a suit.
Now, I wanted to take a picture of it, but I didn't stop it fast enough. So guess what I had to do? I had to rewind again to stop to that picture, because right after this snippet that I took, there's actually a little closer shot of him.
Mhm.
But he's standing. Listen, George, this is why he always gets drafted for a security position. He'd work great for the police force.
He
Yeah,
cleans up
Marlboro
nicely.
cop.
He
Marlboro
does.
cop.
I think John is inching his way to the microphone. I've been trying to stall to save you, George, but
That's
I think
okay.
he has a
I'll
comment
have
for
to
you.
do it.
No. I was just gonna say, if you had been paying attention, you would have seen Nicole Vegas in the first episode.
Yes.
Of
she
this
worked-
one?
Yeah.
She was in 2 scenes of Obliterated.
In the first episode.
First
Oh, I have to go back and watch it
Mhm.
then.
Yeah.
So the show was pretty good. It was like campy a little bit.
Yeah.
that
But the
was fun.
storyline was pretty good for 8 episodes.
I
Just-
will never be able to eat guacamole.
no, I know.
I can't.
We're not going to talk about that. Means you'll have to watch it if you have
That's been
Netflix.
about a year-
Spoiler
a little
alert.
over- Yeah, a little over a year ago now.
Yeah, that's what you said. That this was shot at the Trop, you said,
Yeah.
right?
Oh,
So-
God.
Now, he always, for years, I've known George for many, many years, and always talked about being an actor. I had never seen him in anything all these years until now. Now he can prove it.
Yeah, he's legit.
He's legit.
Yeah.
He was also in Leaving Las Vegas.
Were you?
Yeah.
Wow.
But that was-
The first time he
Look
got
at me
laid.
sitting next to you.
Yeah, I need to
See?
shine your shoes, player.
That's it. I'll wear my black shoes next week.
But
Thank
here-
you very much. Oh, anyway.
Well, next week we're going to not be here. So if you want to
that's
come
right. So I'll
along,
wear them and you won't have to shine them.
Yeah, that's right. Thank you very
You
much.
got off.
I got off.
Yeah.
oh my Lord. All right, let's get to it because I know the ladies have a lot they want to share, and I want to make sure that we give them plenty of time. We know it usually at this time of year around the holidays. We've talked about it over the coming weeks of the show, that depression and things like that start going on a rise and people start having some issues. And this is probably the time of year where we see more suicide stuff happening, or at least reported. And so this is why we want to focus on that. So the American Association for Suicide Prevention, yeah?
American Foundation.
Suicide prevention, that's the bottom line. These ladies are, now you're head muckaty muck for the local chapter, are you not?
Well,
She
not really.
is.
So what's your title? Talk about your role in it,
Yeah, so I'm the area director for the state of Nevada.
which means what?
So I oversee basically our mission for, I'm going to say AFSP,
Okay.
just to shorten it. Our mission is to save lives and bring hope to those affected by suicide. And we do that through research. We're actually the #1 funder of research in the country on suicide. We do that through education, through our free outreach, our free education programs. We do that through advocacy. And then we also do that through support to survivors of suicide loss and those affected by suicide. So I basically make sure that we live all of that through in our work
Okay.
with a plethora.
Ooh. I'll tell you what, every time we say plethora,
I love
we
that
should put $1 on the table.
But she said it
Oh.
better.
Wow.
But she said it better than you, dog.
Plethora.
I'm telling you now. Anyway,
I used to like you.
It's the P. That's the
With,
Yeah.
a, with a
Smooth.
plethora of supporters
That's
and
true.
volunteers.
She's
and,
taking me up on the dollar
and
offer.
things like that. I'm going to use it all the time. now.
Great.
there you go.
Great.
Yeah.
Now, so you're a head muckety muck. Now, Michelle, you're volunteering in the organization, correct? You're a
That's
volunteer
correct.
within,
Yes.
right? How many hours, like how often do you do work for the organization? I mean, how much time does it take up for you?
Gosh, I can't count that high.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, seriously. I spend a lot of time. I love AFSP. This organization is one that is very near and dear to my heart. And because It is so amazing. And we can reach people at so many levels and really provide so much support. And I've been with them since 2013. 2015 is when we became an actual chartered chapter.
Gotcha.
So I got to actually see from the beginning of time what that looked like, trying to get us up and running. And the best thing, truly, being on it for that many years, one of the very best things that's happened to us is Mai. And not because she's sitting here, right now, but because Nevada has never had somebody to have 100% of the time a full support person. So we need her, and she's just done a fabulous job over the time that she's been here. She's so committed and has such a connection and a beauty about her that she has relationships throughout this entire state that she's made, because it's not just Southern Nevada either.
Right.
It's up north too. So we have the entire state that she's responsible for.
So before I want everybody to jump in here, I want to ask, and I do this as tradition with any business owner or entertainer, I always ask what their aha moment is and when did they realize that they could do said. And so everybody gets involved doing things because of whatever the reason is. And I know the reasons. So I'll let you guys battle out who'd like to share first as to why an organization like this is most important to you, both of you and everybody else involved. So whoever wants to share first, please, the mic is all yours.
Why don't you go first?
She delegated.
Oh, she delegated. See, this is why I don't have any time off. She keeps delegating.
That's not true.
that is true that it's not true. So it's very interesting for me because I have always had a strong passion for just helping others. That's why I was in the role that I was in for so many years. I really it's in my heart. I feel like that's my purpose. That's my why. It's important for me to just help those who know that they need help and don't know where to go, who don't know that they need help. I'm here to help them do that. And sometimes people, know that they need help, but they know where to go, but they might need to go on another path. So I love to be around those people. I myself have lost several people to suicide. I've lost 3 cousins to suicide. I've also lost a lot of people in the profession, a lot of my law enforcement brothers and sisters to suicide. Actually, the person who sat next to me in my academy, which is where you have this extra special connection of somebody because you're starting your profession with them and you're you're going through everything. He died by suicide. And one of the things that we talk about is that in our profession, in military, law enforcement, first responder world, we don't leave anybody alone. No one's left behind. And so in essence, it could be looked at, he was left behind or others in my profession were left behind, which is very, hurtful and want to give back, want to pay it forward, want to live these people's names and legacy, want to provide opportunities for others, and then be able to use these people that were near and dear to my heart and be able to use them as inspiration and their spirit so that I can do good for them. Because we know that a lot of people who die by suicide at the time of their death have a mental health condition at that time. So if we can train that and we can facilitate that and we can educate people on mental health, and we can reduce the amount of suicides that we see.
Mai?
So I actually got involved. I am a survivor of suicide loss as well. I lost the first person to suicide was my cousin Casey on April 2nd in 2013. He was in the Marines. He was 25 years old, and really the first loss that my family had actually experienced in general. So to experience it as a death by suicide, I, much like many people who are doing this work, catapulted myself into what can I do to stop this from happening to one other person. But what I didn't know is that as I fast forward, through the years, I had lost 4 other people to suicide in my circle. One of them being my uncle, my husband's best friend, his mom, and then, a few others. But so that's the reason that I have gotten into this work. I felt like there was a moment where I said, why does suicide keep following me around? And then when this position opened up with AFSP, I was working in a different nonprofit, and I thought it was the universe just saying, because this is what you should be doing. And so I took a jump at that.
Okay, fellas.
Before we really get into it, I've had this over the years. There was always this negative stigma to suicide, especially 30, 40 years ago, before social media and TV and all these news stations. And I'm playing the devil's advocate here, but they always associated suicide with being weak-minded or weak, not able to handle life's issues and problems. And even in certain religious circles, it was a sin to
Mhm.
take your own life. You have no right to take your own life, no matter the problem or the issue.
Mhm.
So how is that, if it's changed at all? I'm sure it has over the years, but it's now coming a little more, well, I don't know, more people are committing suicide, or is it just because life in general, are we a weaker society, or is it just the problems? Or I know a lot of law enforcement and military people have had issues with that from stuff that they've seen over the years. Like John was in Vietnam, and a lot of his guys, I'm sure some of those guys had some issues with that. And I don't know if you guys have a hotline where people call in, or if you deal with the survivors more than the actual people that call in and say, hey, I'm not feeling good. I'm concerned about doing this. And what's the consensus with you guys today? Is it because of society, or in general, or the weaker, is it more prevalent now? People are able to talk about it more?
So you want me to take this?
Yeah, go ahead.
So absolutely, this is absolutely the stigma, and that's part of why we do what we do, because we're trying to smash that stigma. We want to get away from that. It's not weak at all. It's actually courageous to ask for help. We encourage people to ask for help. We know, right? Just like you said, that was what was kind of like drilled into us. No, you can handle this. You can do it. You can.
Especially male.
Absolutely.
Tough guy.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, I'm from New York, so I've got that little New York attitude, even though I'm a Vegas girl now. I was in law enforcement, and basically when I started my job, it was drop your bags at the door and pick them up on the way out.
Right.
And your bag was your mental health
Right.
luggage. That was your baggage. Well, there's no such thing. We have one brain, and we all have the brain, right? And we all have a heart. So it's just like any other organ. It's going to be used, and we need to figure out, how can we take care of it the best that we can? We want to normalize the conversation. And we also want to train people the safest way to have the conversations and what we can do to look for opportunities to help people. So I'm going to say, if you don't mind, one of the words that you used, because a lot of people use the word committed suicide. And what we try to do is we try not to use that word. And I'll explain why. When someone dies by suicide, and that's typically what you'll hear me say, I had lost people to suicide. I have cousins that died by suicide, friends that died by suicide. And we're very specific. We'll say died by suicide. We'll use the word. We don't use the word committed. It comes with this negative connotation. When we think about committed, we think about committing crimes. And when someone dies of a heart attack, or if somebody dies with from cancer, we don't say that they committed a heart attack or committed cancer. So when we frame it differently, and it took me a really long time to be able to understand, right, and to really get used to saying the terminology that I was taught, is we want to use it in a space that makes people feel comfortable to speak about it, because it's a health condition typically attached to it.
Right.
And the mental, like you said, the mental health, and I like to say mental wellness, hopefully one day it'll be health is health instead of mental health and emotional health and then physical health. Because if something happens and you break your leg, you're going to go to the doctor, right?
Yeah. I almost try to understand all that, but again, I don't know. I'm not an expert. Suicide is a choice that someone makes because of some of the issues that they might deal with in life. And when I understand the word committed, it just seems like we don't go out on purpose to have a heart attack, or we don't know if and then when that's going to happen. But when someone decides that that's it.
I'd love to be able to answer that one too. So we don't look at it as a choice. We don't want people to think of it as a choice. We never want to look at suicide as a choice. People have bouts of depression, and that is one of the number one reasons that people die by suicide. But what really is happening is people are feeling that they're in so much pain that they can't take the pain anymore. They're not thinking as clearly as you and I that are sitting here. They're thinking.
Some will question if we do that anyway here with us.
If you're thinking it all?
Right, exactly.
Oh, okay. Well, that's
So
a whole
don't use us as
other
a bar.
episode. We got to go to
Don't
another
use
episode
us
for
as
that
a
So
one.
where does I know everybody's an
So-
individual. The pain, though, where does that come from that they can't fix or don't have the ability?
So they have so much pain in whatever space that is. And it's typically, like I said, it can be a mixture of different things, but their mental health. So if they're not thinking clearly, whether it's PTSI, we talk now, post-traumatic stress injury, whether it's depression, whether it's any kind of mental health diagnosis, or whether it's even brain injury. It could be a traumatic brain injury. Like we talked about the veterans and
Sure.
military, a lot of them come back. I have traumatic brain injury, especially in sports as well, right? We see that in sports. So it's not necessary. It's so much pain, whatever the pain is, they're not thinking as clearly as we would be sitting here thinking. It's not as rational as we're thinking. And they've been experiencing it, not getting the assistance that they need typically. So they want to be out of the pain. It's not that they want to necessarily die. And we also talk about this. We train
Sure.
this. They're kind of ambivalent about living or dying. That's what it means. They don't really want to die. They don't want to really live because they don't want to live in the pain. So they're ambivalent about it. So, and if you think, I learned this from someone in the AFSP world, if you think about 9/11 and the World Trade Center, and you think about the Twin Towers, you think about that day, and you think about people who were up on the Twin Tower in the World Trade Center, the Twin Towers, Twin Towers, and if they were up there on that floor and the heat is coming and it's so incredibly hot and they can't take that pain, that blaze anymore. They don't want to die, but they want to escape this horrific heat that they're feeling, right? So what do? Some of them jumped.
Right.
And by definition, that's suicide.
Hold on one second. I want to stop there to go to our break. John, I just want to run Desert Valley Gallery for our break. Desert Valley Gallery. Do you have that one? Just that one. And then we'll come back. Okay. You're watching Roundtable. We'll be back right after this.
Really?
I hope so.
How unique.
It's gorgeous.
You'll find the art that speaks to your heart at Desert Valley Gallery. I've got to have it.
So colorful.
I can't live without it. You'll find the art that speaks to your heart at Desert Valley Gallery.
Everybody, it's me, President Trump, greatest president in the history of presidents, and I've been on a lot of shows, believe me, but the best one by far is Aaron's Hour with Aaron Phillips. This guy is so amazing. What a great interviewer, and you can catch him every Saturday from 12 to 1. 12 to 1. It's a tremendous show. You know why? I was on it, and the ratings went through the roof. Check it out on WWDBTV. That's WWDBTV. It's huge.
Where did that separate-
All right, everybody, welcome back to the Roundtable. Aaron Phillips, Rick Upchurch, George Miklos, Michelle Freeman, Mike Tran, John Stiles, ABXYZ, good night, the Waltons. Anyway, hey, before we move on, Desert Valley Gallery, you only have until the 31st to take advantage of a great special. They are located in Timberland Village, right on the Valet Circle there. If you go in and mention Aaron's Hour, the Roundtable, Aaron Phillips, anything associated with the studio, you go in there, your first $150 purchase, you will then be entered into a drawing for a pair of tickets, which is an $80 value for their monthly cabaret show. And you pick the month you want to go for 2024. But you must mention anything related to me, the shows, Roundtable, these guys, whatever, in order to be entered. Make sure you do that. It's only $150 value, good to the end of the year for your late minute Christmas or holiday shopping. Go up there. You will love it. All right. Rick, I'm turning it over to you.
Yes, sir. No doubt about it. You know, I worked with Agape Children's Services, and Brian Link, we had him on
right, the very first
right
show.
at the very first show. He's a psychiatrist and a very good one here in Las Vegas, and had the opportunity to really work with him in dealing with these young people. And you just can't even believe and understand, man, what these kids have gone through. And then you ask yourself, who's at risk? Who's at risk of this? We don't know, because once again, it's hidden. It's something that's deep down inside of you in that whole deal. And so right here, it says all genders, all ages, all ethnics can be at risk of suicide. And the main factors, they say, a history of suicide attempts, depression and other mental disorders, chronic pain. A lot of folks don't even understand that. I'm tired of the pain. I'm tired of feeling this. Nothing's giving me the relief to get myself, or a family history of mental disorders, substance, and that whole deal. So you got to look and see what are the things that we have that are going to make someone snap,
Mhm.
right? And then what we got to look at is what are the warning signs? You got to be able to see and watch and tell, just like with your children in that whole deal. If they're doing something totally different, right? It's here. They talk about dying and wanting to kill themselves. Talk about feeling empty or hopelessness. Having no reason to live. When you start hearing those type of things, and then they're withdrawn away from you in that whole deal, right? They get withdrawn because they don't want you to see or understand what they're going through or what they want to attempt in that whole deal, right? So you have to understand what the warning signs are as well. You have to be on it to understand what the warning signs are, right? And then here's the one thing I want to ask you guys. What treatment options and therapies that are available for folks? Those are the keys, man. You got to be able to get them to understand that, hey, this is not a bad thing. This is a good thing that you need to go in and get this therapy.
Yeah, absolutely. So our kind of slogan with AFSP is talk saves lives. And so not therapy, but to talk to somebody, right? So not saying like you have to go into therapy, but it's go and talk to somebody that you trust. Try to find a mental health professional that you can get an actual diagnosis of maybe something that you are kind of dealing with, and then get the treatment that works best for you, whether it be therapy, whether it be medication, or some other forms of what's what I'm looking for, other forms of
Treatment.
treatment. Thank you.
Okay.
Support. Yeah, and support, actually, all of them. Thank you. That might work best for you. So there's no one way to get someone out of the darkness and the hopelessness and despair that they might be feeling.
Right.
There's no one way. It's really finding out what's going to work best for that person.
Because every person's different.
Every person's different. Yeah.
And the other one can be this, whether it's sexual abuse,
Yeah.
whether it's physical abuse,
Yes.
whether it's being told that you're dumb, the mental side of it and that whole deal. How do you get beyond that? How do you stop that as far as the kids being able to, or anyone accepting that into their world? You understand what I'm saying? You have, they're sitting there and you're saying these things to them. What can they do, man, to say that's not who I am?
Yeah, and just like Mai said, and like you said, you pins it beautifully, right? We look for different changes in their mood, their talk, their behavior. We train this. So we have some beautiful educational programs that we train the community for free, which is really nice.
Yes.
And it shows those things. Like, what can we do better? What can we watch for? How can we support people? How can we help them? How can we lower the stigma? How can we be comfortable just saying the word suicide or I'm not okay?
Stigma.
Stigma.
That's the big one, isn't it?
It is the big one.
It's
and
huge.
It's so big, and you hit it. So here's the thing. Suicide does not discriminate.
It doesn't.
Period. Suicide does not discriminate. That doesn't mean that it's not difficult for some people to get the assistance, right? However, there is no discrimination. We all have a brain. We all have the same things in our body, the majority of us. And so we all could have that happen to us based on many different things like you've already named and I have.
Yeah.
And so we do also have, and I didn't mention this before, but there's a 988. It's the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. So 988, I recommend everybody puts that into their phone. And it's 24 hours, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. 988, you can call or you can text. You can also text 741-741. And so some people feel more comfortable in the text space, 741-741. Some people feel more comfortable dialing 988. And you don't have to be the one that's having the crisis or needs support.
Calling on behalf of somebody else.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So
Aaron.
if everybody listening and watching right now missed that, make sure you go back to either Facebook or YouTube and rerun the show. This is at about the 28-minute mark, if that'll help you find it. It is very important. And I like what you guys just said about no age limit.
Yeah.
Last week, my show last week on Kiwanis, we had some folks who were involved who had strokes. And they have a foundation and they're doing work in Cali. And we said the same thing. A stroke has no age limit. You can be, how many children when they're born because of other medical, they have a stroke.
Yeah.
And so I don't want to call them illnesses, but all of these maladies that as people we go through, there are no age limits. There's no race, requirements. It is just who we are. Our computer, our body and our brain says, all right, we need to reboot or we need to do this, we need to do that. And we don't know. Jim Fix, one of the biggest runners and joggers back in the 80s, so physically fit. He went running and what happened? He died of a heart attack while running.
He's
Okay.
like 40.
Yeah, mid
Yeah.
40s. So
Yeah.
age, our things that we
Yeah.
deal with has no age requirement.
And what
yeah, go ahead.
what most folks will do, and they understand and they know that they're having issues, what will they do? They'll go to drugs or alcohol
Yeah.
in order to cover it up and that whole deal, and won't get the help. They say, man, this alcohol, man, I wake up in the morning, I'll be okay. But meanwhile, when I drink this alcohol, it's covering everything up, right?
Heightened substance use
Mhm.
definitely is a warning
Is a warning
sign
sign,
for
mhm.
someone who might be experiencing suicidal thinking. For sure, it doesn't mean that all people who
Right.
are experiencing that might turn to alcohol or drugs. Yeah.
And I'm glad you brought about increased awareness. You talked about, now, correct me if I'm wrong, and the stat may have changed.
Yeah.
Since the pandemic, suicide rates for our children, elementary school kids, middle students, and high school students have risen
Mhm.
because of COVID and being locked in and all those other things happening.
Yeah.
As an employee of CCSD, every year we're required to go through trainings. There's like
Mhm.
16 of them. One of them is recognizing the signs of suicide.
Yeah.
Like you
Love
talked
that.
about, watch mood changes. Somebody who gets A's all of a sudden is getting D's and F's,
Mhm.
their attitude, the way they dress, all of that.
Yeah.
So at least within CCSD, and by the way, congratulations to all my friends and colleagues within CCSD celebrating a new
That's
contract. Yes, a great way to start the new year. Just look out for that retro pay, not until March. So, but even on our level, if we can nip it in the bud as early as possible in terms of at least being more aware of our surroundings, which is always the best way to prevent things from happening, whether it's criminal activities or somebody's not look, how many times do we hear just a smile and hey, how you doing today can change the person on the dime.
Yes.
And that's the
Absolutely.
easiest, cost-free, effective way to help somebody.
Yes.
Right?
Absolutely.
And because you don't know what that's going to mean for somebody who could have woken up that morning and said, okay, today's it.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden somebody gives a crap and says, hey, how you doing today? Good to see you. And then all of a sudden,
Showing kindness and empathy.
absolutely.
And
yeah.
you just said the kindness and empathy. Okay, the smile. Oh my God, now I feel better now today. But what about tomorrow?
Mhm.
What about the next day?
For people in that
I mean,
condition,
there's
though,
got
I
to
think
be,
they're taking it one day at a time anyway.
Yes.
Right.
Get me through today. I'll deal with tomorrow.
and that's a
Okay.
and that's a horrible way to live.
Of course.
And you know,
My
with most of
God,
the
I mean-
kids that we were working with in that old deal, all they wanted us to do was listen to them. They
That's
said,
the
they
best
said,
remedy,
we
I
don't want,
think.
we don't want you to say
wanna be
anything.
heard.
Just listen to me. So probably with my session, I would sit there the whole time and just listen.
Yeah.
So then I can write down and say, oh, this is where we're going. This is where we're going. But how many people take the time to do that?
Yeah. It's active listening and then also validating as well.
Yes.
You
You know,
know,
that's why God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth. We're supposed to listen twice as much as speaking. No, seriously.
That's
Right?
facts.
I mean, that's
Yeah,
that's right?
Absolutely.
That's facts.
And I'll even add this. Sometimes I'll say, because I have to remind myself, silent and listen have the same letters.
Yes.
So if you remember, be silent and take care of yourself by
Now, I
listening
know
to
you
someone
guys
else.
are on a limited time, so I don't mean to fast forward
okay.
because
No,
I
please.
think after the new year and everything, and we're going to get closer to this for what I'm going to segue into. You guys have an event coming up in April, but
Yes.
before we get there, one of you or maybe both of you did talked about giving hope.
Mhm.
So our audience has got to be looking at why are they wearing a shirt that says hope. Can you talk about why you have a shirt that says that?
yeah. Oh, I was like,
She's
oh,
delegating
it's me.
back to the
Great.
boss
Yes,
now.
she is. Because there is hope out there.
Okay.
Mhm.
There is hope out there. Folks that are feeling that maybe the suicidal thinking, or they're in that kind of dark place. There's hope out there
Mhm.
by having folks who you feel safe with and trust that you can go to and have a conversation, and that they will listen to you. So we want to inspire and encourage and just let folks know that there is hope out there and that there is help out there,
Mhm.
and that is not suicide is not an option.
Right.
And the big one, man, that you just said is trust.
Mhm.
Yes.
Those kids that we worked with, they would not open up to you
Until
they
trusted.
trusted you.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
And
you
that-
had to give them a purpose and a reason to trust them
Mhm.
as well,
Yes.
And that probably is because you kept showing up,
right?
you kept listening,
Consistency.
and you kept validating,
Yep.
right? And that's
Yeah.
that's what we need to
They want
continue to do.
consistency.
Yeah.
There's
And the
so many-
authenticity too,
Yeah.
right? Because if there's a way that you can be listening and not looking at them or not paying
Right.
attention, or you can be like giving eye contact
Right.
and making you feel like I care.
There are so many students on
Right.
the elementary level that I work with that do not have a father figure at
Mm.
home.
Mhm.
And nowadays, when we were all growing up, the student or the teachers were always a mix of men and female. Now you walk into schools, if you have less than
Women.
5 men teachers there, that can create these relationships with the young boys on any grade level.
That's right.
And so that's one of the reasons why I like teaching where I am in the elementary level, because I know the students, male or female, that just want to have that male figurehead. And so my relationship building with these kids, I absolutely love, because they know they can trust me. They know they can come talk to me, and I'm there for them.
Beautiful.
The fact that you have kids, elementary kids. I mean, I don't know if maybe it's social media or the access to TV and movies and all this other crazy stuff. I don't remember my classmates at 6 and 7 and 8 years old thinking about killing ourselves. I mean, we never.
Not that you know of.
And
Not well,
there-
yeah, but even in,
Right.
yeah, maybe not. But I'm just saying, I don't remember ever. I've never been around it really.
Yeah.
I'm grateful, I guess. I haven't met.
It's not a
any-
club anybody wants to be a part
Yeah,
of.
I don't
Yeah,
know anybody.
absolutely.
I don't know anybody right off the bat. Maybe if I thought a little bit, maybe in my past, that somebody.
Mhm.
But especially when you're a kid, though, a kid.
What,
Where do they get it from?
Well,
To want to do that?
Well, you know what, George? My first encounter, man, with suicide was a family back home. I was very young in that deal, right? They were very poor, and for Christmas they weren't able to get toys. They weren't able to get things for their family, and so they committed suicide. And I'm sitting here saying to myself, "What? Are you serious, man? This is Christmas time. This should be a joyful time in that whole deal." And I said, that's why I got disenchanted with Christmas. I says, this family just committed suicide because they couldn't get toys and stuff for their children. I was like devastated. I went into a depression behind it, big time. Just thinking that someone, simply because they weren't able to financially, man, do something for their families at Christmas time,
Mhm.
he says, well, I'll take them all out.
It's a way out.
So
Yes,
so we talk about that too. And I think instead of plethora, we're gonna put $1 in if you say commit it. We're not saying that word.
I
Right.
got you.
So yeah, so we're putting dollars in.
So
there.
in your
So
world,
died by
personal
suicide.
foul, illegal use of mouth,
Personal
written
foul.
check.
We got a personal foul going
Broke my
on.
check would be
Hey,
going every committee.
And then she's got a pistol
We're-
on her hip.
we're
I'm
gonna-
say, yes, ma'am.
So it's okay. We all have to learn,
Yeah.
language that's a little bit more
right.
safe that we like
Sure, but
to utilize. And
the language changed. We're
Yes.
not using the words. Who decided that was the reason? Well, if we say committed too much, or if we say the word suicide, it's a harsh reality. But the words, I don't know if changing
Triggers.
your words. They're
So
just triggers. I
they-
mean, it's a truth. It's a sad thing, but this is the way it is.
Good, Michelle.
and we are research based, so that's good about our organization. We're research based. I talk a lot to a lot of survivors who have either attempted, have attempted suicide themselves. So it is, like I said again, with that particular word, the negative connotation.
Right.
However, I think, like you said, I'm being there for people. We know also that in the state of Nevada, unfortunately, the second leading cause of death for children 10 to 34 is suicide. Yeah.
That's insane. at
I have
10-year-old
to
age.
I have to put the pedal to the metal here, and I really don't want to, but again, because of time, and
Yeah.
we do want to have you ladies back to continue the
Thank you.
conversation.
Thank you very
Because
much.
we're focusing on the
Absolutely.
holiday time, but reality is it's just like feeding somebody who's hungry. At this time of year, everybody goes wild with food donations and everything, but somebody's hungry 365 days a year.
For
Right.
sure.
This is a topic that is always around the
Correct.
full calendar. But that being said, you have an event coming up in April.
Yes.
Let's go for it. Let's
Go
share
full
what that
speed
is.
ahead?
Yes, let's do it.
Yeah, so April 27th, 2024 is our annual Out of the Darkness Walk. It's at Sunset Park, and this is, I think, like the 9th year we might have done it, maybe a few longer than that. Michelle would know more than me on that. But it's a free community event for folks to come out to who have been impacted by suicide or for supporters of suicide, suicide prevention. And so last year we had over 1,300 folks who joined us. It is our largest fundraiser. And so, we are looking for sponsors. We're looking for community partners, folks to register, help fundraise so we can continue doing the work that we're doing in Las Vegas and across the state.
So is the walk within
So
Sunset
the walk
Park?
is within Sunset Park.
Right down the
we
street.
yeah, we have
That's-
last year I think we also had about 30 different community partners who were there sharing resources out into to the folks that were there. We had it's almost like a little festival,
Mhm.
but not a festival.
Right, of course.
But it's really such a beautiful event. We also have, Michelle brought some beads here too, but we have our honor bead ceremony.
Okay.
And so there's 10 different colors that represent,
Can you show them what we're talking about?
10 different colors that represent a specific loss you might have had or a supporter of suicide. And so we have a
Just
ceremony
examples.
where there's someone who's standing on stage who represents each of the
So
different
each
colors.
color has a different.
Yep,
friend.
and then they get to share a little bit about that story
Okay.
and the person that they've lost. So it's very touching, but beautiful.
So you talked about, obviously they can go onto the website for more
Yes.
information. Now, I understand, do you have digital like flyer already set up?
We have everything. I
Okay,
can
please
email
email
out.
me
Yes,
that so
absolutely.
we can put it up on social media.
We would love
You
that.
talked about sponsorship. What kind of packages for sponsors are you offering?
Yeah, so we have sponsorships. We have some. We actually just didn't start doing them this year, and they start even as low as like $250 to help support, the starting line. So you'd have a sign up there at your starting line. So it really is a little bit more manageable.
Okay.
And then it goes all the way up to 10,000 and plus.
So what does the 250 get?
So there's a
What,
few
sign
different.
at the starting
There's
line?
like could be a sign at the starting line, a sign at the finish line. We have food sponsors. You can help.
So how about this?
Yeah.
Is it this for the 250? Is it the starting line or the finish line?
There's two separate ones. Yeah.
They're two separate ones.
Yeah.
All right. So here's what I'd like to do on behalf of the roundtable. John, I'm not even asking you unless you choose to jump in. On behalf of the roundtable, these guys will kill me, but I'm not worried about it. I'd like to offer a sponsorship from the roundtable for both the starting line and the finish line on behalf of the roundtable to support the cause.
Thank you so much.
It's a worthwhile thing,
Thank you.
and for as long as I'd like to suggest, for as long as we are doing the show, that I would love to be a continuing supporter of the cause, whatever that may mean, but at least for this walk,
Mhm.
Well,
you guys had no idea I was doing this. So he's like, you're spending my money again.
well, the thing about it, we had, what was this gentleman's name? Reggie, was his name Reggie?
Yeah.
The one gentleman we had on earlier.
Oh, with
Right.
Christina.
Yeah, with
with
Christina
Christina and that
Yeah.
whole deal. And so we came up and we came through.
Yeah, we did.
And that whole
Yeah.
deal
Yeah.
between the three of us. So we've already given, man, and we're going to
Thank you.
continue to give because it's real. It's like cancer. You don't know, man. You just
Yeah.
don't know when it pops up. And that whole deal.
The signs are bigger than this, right?
Mhm.
It'll be bigger than this.
I had a couple.
It'll be like this.
Read this up.
Double that.
I had a couple of my teammates. One gentleman, he had two sons, and they were great athletes, right? They were very good athletes. He was good good friends, and that whole deal. One of his sons, man, committed suicide, right? And we go to the funeral. And he's a mess. He's like,
Yeah.
I didn't even see this coming.
Yeah.
He said, everything was all good, and then next thing I know, he's committed suicide. But then a year and a half later, the next son does the same thing. He goes out and hangs himself from a tree in that
Reggie
deal.
Burton.
Yeah,
I just caught his last
Burton,
Yeah.
So
delay.
so you don't ever know. I don't care what situation you're in, whether you're rich, whether you're poor, whether you're middle class or whatever, it doesn't discriminate against anyone.
You should reach out to the Reggie Burton Foundation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he started
Right.
a foundation in honor of his brother who committed
Is
suicide.
that here in?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh.
I'll make a
Real
connection for
Quick,
you.
Rick, I wanted to make your
Yeah, because we have
friend
to
who had
wrap up
two
and get
sons.
these guys out.
The first emotion for me, if I had a family member or a friend, I'd be fucking angry about it.
Mhm.
Why were you so weak to do that? this is how I
Selfish.
selfish anger. Look what you've done to your parents. Look what you've done to your friends or your girlfriend. I would be angry about all
But the
that.
pain is so deep, though. When I would talk with these kids, the pain was so deep down inside.
From what?
Abuse.
Depression is a terrible,
Abuse.
terrible
Yeah.
black hole.
Oh.
I've been there. I
But
take
there's-
meds for
Me
it.
too.
Right after my mom died.
Yeah.
You know how many times I was just like, yeah.
But we all go through stuff like that. Mom and dad eventually pass away.
We go through it and we learn to deal with it, but depression's a whole nother animal that comes with it.
Well, and I'll just say this too. We like to use this when we train. Think about an iceberg and what you see up here
Mhm.
Yeah.
and then what you don't see here.
Right.
And even if you know, and it's your very, very, very best friend, they still don't tell you everything. So there's a lot of stuff and it's typically not one event.
Now, the goal for you guys is when you're speaking to someone or they call in, hey, you got to find out the root of the problem, and you either have to learn to deal with it or fix it.
Yeah, and so the calls don't come to us. So just for clarification, yeah, 988 is the suicide and crisis lifeline, and that's a different organization. They're also a nonprofit organization that works in that space. So, but we definitely use them as well, and we refer people to them, and we always tell people to make
Yeah.
sure during our trainings
They're partners
that they're
of ours.
they're
Yeah.
great partners of ours.
I don't mean to end it. I'm watching the clock. I'm
Yeah.
1 minute of getting you guys out of
Yes.
here.
Yeah, you're
But I
great.
do want to mention to everybody, in lieu of all of the 988s and the 741, if anybody out there listening right now just wants an ear to talk to,
Mhm.
someone outside your forest, okay?
Yes.
I'm not a professional, I'm not a doctor, but I've been there, done that. These guys, if you're just looking for an ear to talk to, message us through Facebook. Okay, our Facebook page, put a message on there, private message us. God knows we get enough private messages anyway from people we don't want to hear from. But we are here also to support those that just want an ear to talk to and acknowledge that you exist. That's part of what we talked about before.
Yeah.
But with that, I have to end the break so we can get these ladies out of here. So again, American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, April 27th. We're going to hear more from these ladies as we get closer to the event. Check it out online. You can probably go online and make donations, I presume.
Yes.
AFSP.org/Nevada.
Yes.
You got it.
I read it long enough here.
Wow.
He
I'm
is
sure
good.
I've mesmerized it. All right, well, we come back on the other side. You know what time it is? Time for America Speaks. Lord help us all.
I know now.
Thank you
now
for
I'm
watching.
all-
We'll be back. Remember, go back. Good information. We'll be back right after this.
And the thing.
Most business owners struggle with the following issue. How do I brand my business to get noticed? Double 8 Design Studio helps businesses by designing brands that boost confidence, look and feel timeless, stand out from the competition, and attract all the right clients. Whether you are in need of a new brand, upgraded design elements, or completely redesign your current brand, Double 8 Design Studio has fully customized packages for your business. Call Chelsea McKendrick at 702-525-3334 and visit www.double8designstudio.com. Let Double 8 Design Studio give you a brand new outlook for your business.
How unique.
It's gorgeous.
You'll find the art that speaks to your heart at Desert Valley Gallery. I've got to have it.
So colorful.
I can't live without it. You'll find the art that speaks to your heart at Desert Valley Gallery.
Everybody, it's me, President Trump, greatest president in the history of presidents, and I've been on a lot of shows, believe me, but the best one by far is Aaron's Hour with Aaron Phillips. This guy is so amazing. What a great interviewer, and you can catch him every Saturday from 12 to 1. 12 to 1. It's a tremendous show. You know why? I was on it, and the ratings went through the roof. Check it out on WWDBTV. That's WWDBTV. It's huge.
What are you?
All right, welcome back. We're back. The ladies had enough of us, and so they
They're
said,
gone.
"We're out of here."
Man, I've got my teeth done this week.
Did you?
Oh,
look
look
at
at
that.
'em.
Wait, where's my sunglasses?
And the light, I know the
No,
light
I-
is
that's why I
hey,
didn't have
you
mine.
know
I can
what?
see you.
You know what? Everyone must do it. They must be on time as far as their dental work is concerned. Make it an annual thing.
Right.
I hate the dentist.
Oh, I love
dentist
the
is-
dentist.
But when I'm done,
It's you.
My dentist, may rest in peace, back east when I was little, my mom used to hold me on her lap because the drill and this.
yes,
And I used to wear penny loafers as a kid.
yeah.
And my mom's shins were black and blue. And the doctor, every time he put his hand, I was biting his thumb. He died. He died with my kid's teeth imprinted on his hand. I swear to God.
Wow.
I have to take Valium, even just for x-rays.
Yeah.
It is my kryptonite. And I just deal with a lot of issues in my mouth that I'm like, I don't want. I like Dr. Tran, but like John just said, he don't want to see me coming. I have broken a stress ball
Oh my goodness.
Really?
sitting
Wow.
there.
Really?
Oh yeah, I had a stress ball in my hand, and all of a sudden he's drilling, and we're doing, and all of a sudden all this the beans are falling out of the bag, and he looked, you break stress ball? I said, yeah, you hurt
break
me.
stress
I break stress balls.
So tell me this: would you rather get hit by a linebacker like Dick Butkus, or would you rather go to your dentist?
Dick Butkus.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
by far. By far.
Call Mike Tyson right now, like we talked about. All right.
Have him bite my ear off.
Right, exactly. Right. See?
I love the dentist.
Usually to talk with me, even just to talk about a dentist, I'll turn as white as the lights. I will just start.
No, but you must do it. My grandmother, man, you know how she convinced me? She convinced me this way. She said, boy, let me show you something. She took her teeth out and here like this. She said, you don't want to be like this, and you better break your teeth. I've been brushing my teeth ever since. So, yeah.
You know, I don't have much connection here. We can just continue on with whatever comes up. It's Christmas.
Okay.
We've got,
Yeah,
just talk
absolutely.
about whatever. I don't have
No
a
doubt.
connection
Did
here.
you get all
It's hard-
your Christmas shopping done? Did you get yours done?
Pretty much.
Pretty much,
I didn't
pretty
really
much.
do much,
Yeah,
but yeah,
right.
it's pretty much done.
Right.
You know,
you know what?
I
You
try
know
not
what?
to wait too
You know
long.
what we did? I was talking with Aaron. I was on the phone with Aaron. We were talking, and I said,
Oh,
you know
I can
what?
talk about that picture.
I said, you know what I
no.
said? I said, you know what? At the end of the year, we all get scammed. You got Thanksgiving, you got Christmas,
Right.
and you're talking about Black Friday. Black Friday means that corporations and business at the end of the year, that last quarter, they can show that their stockholders that they made money
Right.
off of us. We went out, just spent money like we were absolutely idiots. And then what happens, man? In January or February, you get that credit card bill, boy.
There you
got to
are.
start paying that bad boy off.
$12,000.
And that deal. But the number one thing we talked about was what? The stockholders. They're
Right.
sitting back, man, and saying, how many doggone yachts can I get? How many more yachts can I get?
Boy, you got-
So when you sit down with the stockholders in that old deal, what we did was brought up the Last Supper.
I
With
love
Jesus
that.
sitting there with the
Oh,
disciples.
by the way,
and they said, what did it say? It said,
First
we put it
meeting.
like Jesus is holding a report that says report, a paper that's holding report, and then across the table it says the first official stockholders meeting. And this came because I shared with him something, John, we learned last week with the sisters here, that Jesus was allegedly not born on December 25th.
wasn't.
Yeah,
His
that's what
birth
I
was the
heard.
middle of January.
yes.
And somebody of alleged importance said, you know what? We need something to do in December. And so he pushed the
It was
birth.
to coincide with the pagans' holiday.
Right, that's what
That's
it was.
right. That's
so,
right.
so they announced December.
The winter solstice.
That's
So they
right.
announced December 25th, and we're talking about this on the phone. And he turns to me, the tip in timeshare. What do we had to get our numbers in by a
Right.
certain time.
Right.
Well, when you're at the end of the year, you're pushing numbers back into the previous year to look good, right?
Right.
And that's how we came up with this. We just
Oh, by the way, I wanted to give a shout out to my wife Denise
Yes.
and her daughter Ava.
okay.
They, I guess Ava's been doing this every year for the last few years. They go to all the gyms in town, the workout areas, and they collect toys and they put up trees in the gyms and they collect toys. And they'll correct me if I'm not right, but they do collect toys and they ask people for donations. And they came over the other night. The van was full, the truck was full, and they take the presents. They unwrap them, of course, because in today's world, you don't know what somebody's going to try to, finagle you, pull the wool over your eyes. But they take all these
Check your
toys.
email in a
They-
minute.
They give them all away to underprivileged kids.
Email?
Right.
And I guess that kind of ties in with what we talked about earlier. Kids that aren't able to get gifts from
Yeah.
their families.
Yeah.
These toys are donated. Bikes. Oh, we had footballs and bikes and clothing. And I wanted one of the footballs. I want that football I saw that was on the bed in the living room. But yeah, so but they give away all these toys to kids, and they do it every year. And
Yeah,
yeah.
but for me, once again, when you talk about Santa Claus and that whole deal, he's a fallacy. He's not a real individual.
It is,
When you
but
talk
it's-
about, wait a minute, when you're talking about Santa Claus
Next, you're going to tell me
and
the
coming
tooth
down
fairy's
my
not real.
chimney, man, we had a chimney and we burnt coal. So if he can't got
Just burn
his
his
fat
ass.
butt down that doggone chimney, he's gonna come out all dusty. I would go out and look on the roof to see if there was any reindeers. I'd walk around the yard, see if there was any reindeer or sleighs. I said, this is a fallacy. It's about money.
Well, I saw
And
some
I don't
reindeer-
like it. I think it stinks. I love Christmas because it's family time.
Right.
But for what it's supposed to be about Christ and his birth, right?
Right.
But now we turned it into a money-making thing. man.
Well, it's supposed to be the true meaning of the holiday is what basically the birth of Christ. Supposedly, that's the whole point, and all that kind of thing.
They didn't bring presents and gifts in that whole deal. That's not what they brought.
Well, they brought frankincense, myrrh.
Yes,
Those are the
frankincense and
original
those type of
gifts,
things.
Don't look at me. I'm
And so-
Jewish.
I know that.
Yeah, well, I know. So I'm just saying. How do you do this?
I found reindeer
Check
poop
your
in the
email.
yard one
Check your
day,
email
so
from
that
Dave
convinced me Santa Claus existed.
Check
There's
your
reindeer
email
poop in
from
my
Dave
yard.
Really?
Arnold. Kiwanis.
Just that day, it happened. Huh?
Santa Claus showed up. There's reindeer.
I'm sorry. I don't want to bust the kids, out there.
just
They're-
did.
So we'll
Just
put a
below it.
disclaimer out there. Turn off your
Yeah,
volume
yeah,
for the last
right.
10 seconds.
Yeah, kids, I don't want to, mess you up on
I
that.
want to ask you something, though, and also, in addition to this, of course, the other holiday at this time is New Year's next week.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Some
Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's. Boy.
Hanukkah, Kwanzaa.
Well, what would we
they're all
do
in
if we
there.
didn't have holidays? Really? What would you
Work. That's next.
But I mean, there was some holidays are kind of like a mental break from your dreary life or whatever. it
Well,
is.
why you got to go out and pay and spend money? Because your credit card, once you get your credit card bill, you're going to go back into a depression.
However,
Honey, where's that going?
however, if you invested in precious metals
There you go.
and those bills got too high,
Which
you
I
can
just read
always
an article
sell those
about.
coins and make money to pay off. See how it works? It's all connected.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
So-
They're called tangibles.
Tangibles, not the tangibles like you eat. Those are tangerines.
Assets.
So what I want to ask is this: we only have a couple of minutes left about New Year's. You guys make New Year's resolutions?
No,
I do.
no.
I do make
Yeah.
New Year's resolutions. I really
give
do.
me a couple if you've already thought about it.
My resolution is always not to make one. And
Right.
so I don't
You stole mine.
Well,
God damn it.
I actually have one for this year. I want to.
That's what I say every year.
I
I
want
have
to film
one.
my
I don't
damn
make-
vampire movie film. That's what I want to do.
Well, but
I'm
it sounds
getting
like it's
older
maybe
now.
moving forward.
It is moving forward. I'm getting
No.
older now. I got to hurry up.
No, my resolution, honestly and truthfully,
Yeah.
because I'm here and my family is all over. My daughter's down in Dallas, my
Mhm.
son's in New Jersey,
Right?
my other son's in Minnesota, and my grandkids are all over the place. And I don't get a chance to spend enough time with them. And I'm getting older. I'll be 72 this coming year, and that whole deal. We're not getting any younger.
Right.
And I'd miss out on those times. Baseball, cheer, and all of those type of things, sitting down watching a movie and popcorn and those type of things. So my resolution, man, is to try and spend more time, man, with my grandchildren and my great grandchildren, man.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Absolutely.
I agree. No, I don't have the traditional family. You don't have children. I don't have grandchildren. I spend the time with Denise and just try to make what little life I have better. Again, I'm not a resolution kind of guy. I want to lose weight, or I'm going to get a better car.
Well, I wouldn't want
don't
to go
do
there, but anyway.
Comedy at its finest again, and I'm out of work. But yeah, so I don't know about the resolutions, but yeah, Christmas can be one of those times of years where I guess is it humanity's fault that we've made that holiday and where people go through the issues that they go through, like when the girls were here just now, the ladies talking about stuff like that. I mean, why even have the holidays if we're going to put people in more pressure of life and all that?
Because it's called corporate. Have you ever heard of corporate greed? You have corporate greed out there, man. That's big time. How do you think all these guys get these big yachts, man, that cost $500 million?
Right.
How do you think they get 4 and 5 cars?
I feel
because
bad.
we go out
Yeah.
and we spend money.
See, and I feel bad for those who celebrate Christmas for what it is, because Christmas has become so commercialized. Okay.
Right.
Hanukkah, you're lucky if you walk into a store and find an end cap somewhere with some candles, right? So I don't know. I may
And
have shared
Hanukkah
this.
is more of it's a longer period of time
Well, sure.
than one day.
And what people don't realize
Same
is the
thing with
fact
Kwanzaa.
that. Oh, Patrick, thank you, sir. Good evening, and gentlemen, happy holidays and Merry Christmas. Thank you,
All right,
Patrick, as always.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. Years and years and years ago, when my kids were still at home, we called this going Home Depot on somebody. So we walk in August, folks. Please keep this in mind. And we're talking 20 years ago, maybe a little less than that. We walk into a
And he
Lowe's.
still hasn't grown up.
I know. We were walking into a Home Depot or Lowe's. Now I don't even remember what it was. And we walk in, and as you walk in to the left, you have your customer service desk
Right.
here, and all the way over here to the left. I look over in August. All the Christmas trees are out.
Yeah, I hate that.
Fake trees, all the August.
Yeah.
So I turned to my wife walking in and I said, I wonder where all the Hanukkah stuff is. And I knew the answer to this.
They
So
don't
I
have it.
said to my wife, here's Aaron Phillips in full glory. I said, babe, watch this. And I went over to the customer service desk. I said, excuse me. I said, I'm Jewish. I practice Hanukkah. I celebrate Hanukkah. I see you have all your Christmas stuff out already, which is a shame for those who celebrate. Where can I find all the Hanukkah stuff since you have Christmas out? This lady made Gene Kelly look like a beginner for tap
Yeah,
dancing.
they didn't know.
So she says, well, give me 1 second. Let me call the manager over. I said, okay. Manager comes over and I said the same thing to him. I see this, where's this? And you talk about another tap dancer, the two of them, Gene Kelly and Bing Crosby, whatever. So he says, let me go check the back. Usually we get a pallet. Okay. 1 ballot. Okay. 10 minutes later, he comes skipping back up and he says, Mr. Phillips, I got to let you know, our pallet has not arrived yet, but I'll tell you what we'll do. As soon as that pallet arrives, I'll give you a call. You come in, you'll come into the back with me. Before you put anything out, you pick off whatever you want. I said, that's great. What time is it now?
Did it happen?
I'm still waiting for that phone call from 15 years
Right,
ago.
right.
Okay. So I feel bad because Christmas has become, all the holidays have become commercialized. Valentine's Day, John mentioned that earlier. That's a holiday strictly for the greeting card industry and jewelers.
You know what
let's
I
face it.
appreciate more than anything? When somebody, back in the day before there was all this commercialization, when people would actually
We're over
be a
our-
good neighbor,
Wasn't even alive
and they
yet.
were right, but they would when somebody makes you a gift or writes out a
Yes.
handout, or
Yes.
actually writes out a card.
Yes.
I got a card from a good friend of mine. Oh yeah, we're on Facebook. Hey, Merry Christmas, Happy
Right.
New Year.
But
But when you get but when you get a card in the mail,
Yes.
they sat down.
Yeah.
Hey George, hey
so
Denise,
when you get that
have a-"
card in the mail and the
It's-
person who sends it, instead of signing the card, they printed labels.
Yeah.
And they'll put their label in there instead of
they
hand
had to
signing
sit
it.
down. They had to not work, but put
No, no,
time in.
I
They were
get you.
thinking about
Yeah,
you
they were thinking about you.
when
I get
they
it.
were doing that.
I get it.
It's
I get it.
Oh yeah, remember Christmas seals?
Seals,
All right.
Yeah, no. That's why they put the thing in there.
Right.
Because they purchased the Christmas seals.
Or if somebody makes you a gift that took time out of their life and they were thinking about you, they didn't just go out to a store and spend $50 and buy you something.
See,
which
that
is
could have been
fine.
America Speaks. We could have found something.
Yeah,
All
but,
right.
but there was
The-
a
the
connection
quarter has-
sucks in here.
You didn't log into the Wi-Fi, and it is paid for, is it not?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I don't. The water didn't turn on in the sink. I thought, well, maybe he
They're
didn't
still
pay.
live.
As far as we know. Anyway, quarters out of the slot. We run it out. Our final show of 2023. We'll be back Thursday, January 4th, live from Gilbert Elementary School with our first show of 2024. Gentlemen, from the bottom of my heart, been a great year. I've enjoyed spending Thursday nights and with you guys doing this, and every other time we have fun outside of this. It's been great. The biggest gift I have is friendship, and from you guys.
Oh
and,
my
and
God,
the
are you kidding?
spouses and everything has been great. Even John, I'll throw him a
Yeah,
bone.
throw him a bone,
John,
Brad.
yeah.
A
Wait, I
milk
have
bone.
one more
Throw
show
him a
though,
milk bone
to
okay?
do that. So I
Yeah.
got to come back tomorrow. By the
Yeah.
way, Kiwanis Connects on tomorrow at 9 a.m. Next week, Val will be live from the Rose Float.
Yeah.
Where they're
Oh,
putting
cool.
the floats together.
Yeah.
Well, just
So-
so you know, again, I feel my sentiments are the same with you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you
Thank
so
you
much
for-
for
yeah.
letting me be a part
Aaron,
of it.
thank you so very much. George,
Kissy, kissy.
get out of here, man. You're wearing the Raider stuff. But hey, thankful for you
Should
guys,
put
man.
the hat on his head and see what he does.
Thankful for you guys, man.
Anyway, with that, everybody, thank you for watching. Have a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, whatever holiday you are enjoying. Make it your own. Enjoy your family because, as the ladies talked about earlier, there is no time limit. We never know when our number's up. Thank you
Yep.
for watching. I'll see you tomorrow, 9 a.m. on Kiwanis Connects. Be kind to everybody. Why? We're all we have. See you next time,
All
next
right.
year on the Roundtable.
Take care, gang.